Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitaram Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, greetings from New Nila Nilachula Dham in New Jersey. It's just a small, really Krishna center. Thank you, those who are joining this. And I have no particular curriculum, but I have a basic format, and we'll see how long this can go, but the format is I've outlined, I think, 6 or 7 areas where one can improve their meditation. And every week I'll go over those areas and share any realizations I had in any of those areas. So today, again, I'll give a summary and then share my realizations and then guide you in chanting Japa. I have a particular inspiration this week on the technique to focus on. So, deep life, I can share realizations how how your day is connected to your meditation. They're so connected. Again, that analogy of you don't start a car in 5th gear, but you have a real advantage according to the way you live. Actually, I'll just speak on my realizations one at a time. It's just like the 10 offenses to the holy name. The last offense is to maintain material attachment, despite hearing so many instructions in the matter. And what does that mean? Of course, as a mother is supposed to give up her affection for a child, or are we supposed to give up our proclivities for certain types of food? No, we have a certain allowance. Kamasya nendriya pritir labhoja, you take what you need. But it's when you go beyond what your legitimate needs are. I'm focused on my chanting as part of my service. So I realize how many things affect it. And, just like in one sense, there's advantages to every situation. So there's advantages to a working life. the advantages to sannyas is that you're free from other obligations that can distract you from Krishna consciousness. But at the same time, you have to be so much more vigilant not to waste time. A person that works really hard, that's their duty. And when they come back, their time is very, very precious. And if they're serious, they won't waste it. You know, and Krishna sees that, sees our sincerity. Now, just like when you're dealing with a person, let's say, treat them nicely, and then you approach them. Well, they may be holding back. They won't be revealing themselves. They won't be revealing themselves to you. It'd be like this. So it's the same thing with the holy name. The taste in the holy name is the revelation of Krishna. Krishna is the holy name, but the holy name is a person. And a person is we only actually meet the person and enjoy the person if the person is inspired to give themselves to us. And that's what chanting is. It's a very, very personal thing. So how you approach Krishna, how you please Krishna, that's the extent that Krishna will manifest to you. And that's the taste of the holy name. So how we live our lives and the sincerity in which we do it very, very much has an effect with our taste for chanting. When Krishna sits, when we sit down and chant, just like the cultivating the consciousness of humility. I always explain that when a child is entitled, they don't feel love. And there's that key verse, and they don't feel love. Even though they're getting love, they don't feel love. So in terms of the holy name, that there's that famous verse, Trinadapi, Sanichena, Tororapi, Sahishtana, Amanina, Madanena, Kirtaniya, Siddhahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the store on the street, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one could chant always. But the question is, why in that state of mind can you chant always? And what can you always do? The thing that you can always do is the thing that you do with emotion and feeling and love. That's the only activity which one can do constantly. Every other activity has an objective or goal. The activity itself is not pleasurable. So when a person's humble, he can experience God's mercy. And therefore, he can experience mercy is affection. Affection is love that comes from the superior to the junior. Respect is the love that, technically speaking, respect or reverence is the love that goes from the junior to the senior. But that affection is felt when one is humble. Then one feels that love. And when you feel love from, you can feel love for. So And then you can chant with some feeling and devotion. So bhakti, deep life, how we live our life, very much affects the experience we have with Krishna in terms of the holy name. And then deep faith. And I changed my schedule. I'm not writing in the morning, I'm just chanting. And then, because we're so conditioned to fruitive consciousness of doing things for a result, and then, the thought comes, wait, should I be writing? Should I be doing so many things? And I'm chanting in the morning like that. And then I just remembered a tape. I remembered a tape that I listened to during the week with Prabhupada. He says the most important thing is to chant the holy name. So of course that's faith, because it comes from Guru, who represents Shastra. You have faith in Guru, and you have faith he represents Shastra, and you have faith that Shastra is the absolute truth. So Prabhupada's saying that. It gives me the impetus to go on. And chanting is a question of momentum. The taste should increase, but we have to make that commitment, and there'll be mental blocks. But the person with faith, he sits down. He knows this is the best thing. Tara madhye sarva shreshte nama sankirtan nira aparade poya paya premadan. Of all the 9 processes of devotional service, chanting is the best. And by doing it without offense, one could get prema. So deep faith. That's why Prabhupada said the process is chanting and reading. It's not disconnected. Because when we have that faith in Shastra and then we hear things, then the conviction stays within our mind. And it's by faith that we move forward. And the strength of our faith is the strength that we move forward. So it's not disconnected. And faith, again, these are all thoughts I had this morning. I've been chanting a lot. It's trust by experience. It's trust by experience. And the experiences of Krishna, the experiences of taste. And you got to do it. You got to put the effort in. Otherwise, you'll say, nah, this is not attractive. I don't like to do this. This is too difficult. There's more important things to do. But if you commit yourself to it, you commit yourself to the chanting, and practice, which is concentration over a period of time without interruption in the right mood, then the experience comes. And that experience, the nature of faith, it's not I believe or I don't believe. When it's not revised or renewed, it kind of shifts back into the consciousness. That's why it's so important to be steady. It's so important to be steady. And frankly, I've just changed I wasn't satisfied with my chanting. I just changed my schedule in the morning, so it's only chanting. I can do other things later, but it's the priority. And deep faith. Let me see if I can find that 1 second. Okay, 1 second. Here. Just, I thought actually also part of the class is just reviewing one of those verses in Bhagavatam to renew our understanding that this is the most important activity. You know, I was talking to one friend who's a writer, not Satyaraj Prabhu, and he told me he wakes up, he writes for 4 or 5 hours. And then, he's very advanced. And I was appreciating that. And I was just thinking, well, I could write I have some books I want to write, but I never get to them. I could do that. But, the priority of just hearing and reading and hearing the Shastras and hearing the verses, that this is the Yuga Dharma. This is the most important thing. So here's one verse that I think is important, and we'll read the verse and the purport, and I think that'll give us it's 12:351. Kaler doṣa-nidhe rājann, asti guṇaḥ, kīrtanād kṛṣṇasya, mukta-saṅgaḥ paraṁ vrajet. Now, this verse comes in the 12th canto. It's very significant in a book. What's at the beginning? What's the end? So this is the end. And it's coming after a description of Kali-yuga and all the faults in Kali-yuga. Everything that we're experiencing now, and that's getting worse and worse. And by Krishna's mercy, he's forcing us to take shelter of that which is art of real value. And somehow or other, this human form of life, kamar acharate pragyo, even if you're young, kamara acharate pragyo, if you're very intelligent, dharma and bhāgavatam high, that there's dharma, is bhāgavatam, is worshiping God. Dulabam manasad jadma tarap yadruvam artadam. Dulabam manasan janma. This human form of life, dulabam manas, is very, very rare. It's very, very rare, this human form of life. But adruvam, and it's temporary, like all other forms of life. Dulabam manasan. But it's dulabam, but it's rare, it's dulabam. And why is it rare? Even though it's temporary, like every form of life, because you could worship God. So he says, my dear king, although Kali-yuga is an ocean of faults, referring to what he just described, there is one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Kṛṣṇa mahā-mantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. Kaler doṣa-nidhe, ocean of faults, Kali-yuga. Asti, there is, he certainly eka mahā-guṇaḥ, one very great quality, kīrtanād kṛṣṇasya, by chanting the holy name, mukta-saṅgaḥ, liberation, and paraṁ vrajet, you can go to the Supreme. The purport is just a sentence. After mentioning the innumerable faults of this age of Kali, Sukadeva Goswami now mentions its one brilliant aspect. Just as one powerful king can kill innumerable thieves, one brilliant spiritual quality can destroy all the contamination of this age. It is impossible to overestimate the importance of chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, especially in this fallen age. So, deep faith, deep life, deep faith, deep space, deep time, a time and a space, place for chanting. Deep space. It's so important for me to shut off my cell phone. Because I wear hearing aids, and somehow or other, if the phone beeps, the beeps, and then I'm saying maybe someone's loved me, or whatever that beep means, someone's giving me attention, or there's some distraction. Shutting off the phone, shutting off the computer, to practice, because practice gives the realization or taste. And practice means concentration without interruption. So deep time, deep space. I'm realizing that myself. They asked Jayadvaita Maharaj, Havi Prabhu, my God brother, what's the secret of your spiritual life? He said, I do the same thing every day. Same thing, that's it. That regulation. And I'm also feeling people have a commitment, but it's more important, I think, to make that commitment, to commit to time. To commit to time, I will do it at this time. Because, once it's, some people have to chant on the train, some people have to chant. I know how the modern world works. I just spoke to one lady, has a family, has kids, and, sometimes has to chant in the car. Okay. But obviously, we know that that's not the best. And we know, anyway, that point. Then deep mercy. I always chant prayers before I chant to test my consciousness. And again, that deep life, we wake up in different modes of nature. I'm not eating at night past lunch, but maybe there was some indication because I had more dreams. And maybe in some dreams, so you wake up in a consciousness and you start at different places. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So I start with prayers to make sure I can hear every word in the prayer. Because, I gave that example of Stephen Jobs, how he would tell people what's on their mind, because if he didn't get it out before, they weren't going to hear anything. Because hearing is not just a product of the senses. It's a product of the mind. And the mind is limited on what it can perceive, what information can come into consciousness. So if your mind turns to your memory, you won't hear anything. Even if the sound is in the air, you won't even see anything. Someone could walk by you and you won't see them. So I chant a prayer till I can hear, and slowly, one word at a time, until I can hear every single word in that prayer. because I have to bring my mind under control for chanting. And prayers, it's not just mechanical too. We discussed that point that prayers is the method to put your mind in a humble position by an humble act of entreaty, which actually attracts mercy. And you have to be in that mood. I can't do this by myself. I need mercy for this. And that kind of humble mood, that gives taste to the holy name. It gives meaning. When you say something with meaning, it's absorbing. If you say something mechanical, it's boring. If someone's yelling, help, 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 someone's drowning, they're not bored. It's not pleasant, but they're not bored. So in a humble state, and it's a process. It's where it's like this, our consciousness. We'll go down and up, but we should be moving up. So now I'll just concentrate on one concept and one technique. And then this class, if I don't have much to say sometimes, we'll just chant together. And I'll guide that chanting. Okay. You know, this concept of perception being a combination of the senses and the mind. And I really realized this really profoundly. And I may have shared this with you. There's a great pickpocket called not Anthony Robbins, Apollo Robbins or something like that. And I watched this video where he was so expert, he took people from the audience and before your eyes, he pickpocketed those people without anyone in the audience seeing. And at the end of the thing, he said, I'd like to thank you and I'd like to give you a watch. And the guy's watch was there and here's your wallet and your keys. He even had a different shirt on and he called the art of distraction. And he had a diagram that was really interesting. And it was of the head. And then like there were cameras coming out of the eyes and, you know, kind of speakers or things that get sound, microphones, speakers out of this. So, and then there was a box for the memory. And he described, how does a pickpocket work? He distracts you so that you can't see what he's doing. And even the pickpocket, you see that he taps the person on the shoulder and then the person's consciousness goes there. And so does the audience, or he puts his hand up and it's amazing. So I understand how relevant that is for chanting, to be conscious of focusing the consciousness. And therefore, it's just important to be conscious of that. One way I think that Bhaktivinoda Thakur did it in a book called Bhajan Rahasya is he would focus on different syllables. He had a system that was also connected with remembering Krishna's Leela. But I do this. I really try for a particular syllable to really concentrate on that couplet of the holy name, because by that or that activity of my intelligence, I'm going to focus on this. It activates the mind towards that. And I find in the holy name, once you activate the mind, then it can carry through the rest of the name. And also to, again, just increase that exercise of the mind focusing. I sometimes concentrate on chanting, sometimes I concentrate on hearing, and sometimes I concentrate on the heart. And of course, the principle is when one has a taste of the holy name, there's no techniques. You don't need them in one sense. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's techniques was, remembering Krishna's Leela and associating the different couplets with the Shikshastakam and with Krishna's pastimes. But we need to be conscious. And I give the example of, if I tell you, bring your consciousness to your right toe, now you're conscious of that. Or sometimes we may be in a little pain, but our minds may be distracted. We're not even feeling the pain. We're not even feeling the pain. I know when at Pumpkin Hollow, when we'd have those retreats and we chant down by the river, and I would tell the people, hear the river, and they would hear the river, but they weren't hearing the river. It's the same vibration in the air, but until I asked them to put their minds towards that object and bring them the consciousness towards the ears, there was no perception of it. Or you're in a class and your mind wanders. Did you hear it or not? The same vibration was in your ear, but the consciousness wasn't focused there, and therefore the mind wasn't focused there. So I'm going to try this with you. And I'd have to say, there's no hard and fast rules. If you want to just chant along with me and not do the technique, I can't guarantee it works for everyone, or you want to try it, that's completely up to you. But we're going to do this just to help us focus the mind. We're going to chant a couple of rounds together, probably 4 or 5. And then we can have some reflections if people want. But what I want to do now is I want you to concentrate on the first couplet of the holy name. I want you to perfect the mantra, one mantra at a time. And just try it and see if that exercise or intention helps you to bring the consciousness to the holy name. And we can concentrate on the mouth. We can concentrate on the mouth. We can concentrate on chanting it. You'll see there's a difference between concentrating on chanting and concentrating on hearing and concentrating on it coming from the heart. But just concentrate on producing it. Bring your consciousness to your mouth. So we'll do it like this and chant about 1 round together. I'll just chant 1. And then I'll ask you to be quiet. If you want to chant quietly along, you can. If you want to just be silent and listen to me, that's it. I'm not going to speak in between it, although I think that could be very effective. But and I'm going to add something else. And when you chant that couplet, the first couplet, I want you to do it very sweetly, understanding that Krishna is hearing your name and getting pleasure from your devotion, which has concentrated on offering that sound vibration to him in a very sweet manner. So I'll do 2 couplets and then we'll do together and then at your own pace. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, together. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, your own pace, very sweetly, and focus on really making sure you perfect the whole mantra, but especially the first couplet as an offering to Krishna. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare. You can unmute yourself. We can try chanting together. Someone suggested that. Hare
Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna, Hare Rama. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Rama, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Hare Hare.
Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa,
Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Rama, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Rama, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Rama, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Rama, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Rama, Hare Krishna, 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 Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada also said that we should listen to the sincerity of our chanting. Tajapas Artha Bhavanam, the Yoga Sutra says that you should dwell on the meaning of the mantra. So we're praying for a mood of service. Sincerely, that's what we want. And we should hear the sincerity, the voice, the heart, our sincerity, our voice, and our heart in the chanting. So I want to do the same thing, but now focus the concentration to the ear and focus on hearing that name. Focus on hearing. And the same thing, the first syllable, really put your effort in, one syllable, one mantra at a time. Put your effort in to begging Krishna, really that you want service. So I'll chant one and then we'll chant together and at our own pace. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram. Okay. Now I want you to stay and do the same thing from the heart. Listen to the sincerity of your chanting. Listen to the sincerity of your chanting, but one second. Listen to the sincerity of your chanting, but listen to the sincerity of the chanting coming from your heart. You can bring your consciousness to your heart. Bhaktivedanta Goswami told me this, that it's recommended to actually meditate that the holy name is coming from your heart. But same thing, focus on the first syllable and listen to the sincerity of the chanting coming from your heart. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna. Okay, we're going to do, I think we'll do one more for today. It seems like we're not limited, but an hour is a good time. But you should leave till an hour and a half in case something is special. So Prabhupada said we should chant like a child crying for his mother. I look at desire as a voice in the heart, and there's a desire for sensuous activities, a desire for prestige, a desire for hate, revenge, a desire for liberation, and there's a desire to serve Krishna. So I look at that voice, and in my consciousness, I try to amplify it like a child is crying. I want Krishna, I want Krishna. And when desire becomes so powerful and you're not getting what you want, it comes to tears. So again, try to focus on the first syllable with all your effort, crying for Krishna, and then it should go through the whole thing and perfect the mantra one mantra at a time. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. 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 Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Hare. Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Ram. Okay, that was so nice. We chanted together for about a half hour. Would anyone like to give any reflections on the class? Even share perhaps what touched you or any questions, what didn't work? Yes. Anybody like to share something?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you very, very much. This is Krishnamrita. Even the previous time, it was so deep that it took me some time after the class to get out of this deep mood that you brought us into. And today also, especially when we tried to beg from the heart, to ask Krishna, to beg him, it was so very strong.
Okay, thank you. That's good. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hey, Bhakti Devi.
First, I want to say how wonderful it is to chant with you in the morning. But also I wanted to say that, last week, 2 weeks ago, when you had said it again this morning about, how Steve Jobs says, what do you have going on in your life, right? I mean, I had to jump off your class last time because exactly that. I had so much going on in my head in my life that I couldn't concentrate on your class. And I wound up having to leave. But this time it definitely, and I love the crying out to Krishna too. That is wonderful.
Okay, so whatever these techniques work, we can apply. But thank you. Maybe in the future, I'll just have a japa period in the morning that people could plug into for a half hour. They can chant with me because it's good for me too. And especially since I don't work, I don't have a family,
We're your family.
I know, but I don't have responsibility. No, but I chant in the morning, so I'm very kind of fired, enlivened for this. I even ate breakfast before it because I get up so early. Okay. Thank you, Bhakti Devi. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Anybody else?
Hare Kṛṣṇa Maharaj. It's Indira. I was going to say that when you made the comment about a person who comes towards you and is kind of, when you're first meeting them or when you're meeting them at any point, and they're kind of standoffish and you turned your shoulder like this, and then how are you having that relationship and you're chanting with Krishna? It really hit home. Like I really thought, it's kind of like, am I not paying attention? So basically I'm like this. I'm not really there, I'm kind of half in, half out. Yeah, that was a really good.
Okay, thank you. That's great. Thank you for that comment. It's personal. It's a relationship. That's what I'm saying, because I'm wondering why I'm chanting sometimes and I'm not hearing and I'm not having taste. And then another time I am. And there's two things. One is my own attentiveness, but also it's the revelation of Krishna in relationship. I feel that, he gives himself when, and I guess, in a relationship, when someone's attentive, that's an expression of love. And then you kind of respond. We're like that, and Krishna's a person. Thank you, Indira. That's great. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Good. Anybody else?
Hare Kṛṣṇa Maharaj, is Gopi Gita. I just want to say thank you. This time it's amazing to chant with you and with the Sanga. Really, thank you.
Great. And I guess I'll see you at the end of August. That's still quite a while off. Okay, Haribo.
Haribo.
They're not having a retreat in the ashram before it was canceled. So, people can be accommodated there if they want. But anyway, we'll let you know. Anybody else? Just say hello.
Hare Kṛṣṇa Maharaj, Malati.
Nice to see you.
Haribol. Thank you for class. I just wanted to share that since your class 2 weeks ago, it has really impacted my japa, like very distinctly. I think it required going to the Columbia retreat, singing New Jersey, and now the japa class, it's finally sinking in. The deep time, deep space. I've carved out 8 rounds first thing in the morning before my kids get up, rather than the 4 that it was before. And it's had a profound impact, like having that commitment.
Great. Now, I'm coming to Philadelphia. Were you informed?
I heard, yeah, I'm trying to get a babysitter. So I hope to see you there. And I wanted to share, if I could, that you said something in class today that struck me. I think you mentioned that we can't, that in receiving love, then we can give love. Did I get that right? And it just struck me because a theme that's come up for me lately in relation to japa is, I didn't recognize this in myself until others shared with me their experience, this difficulty in receiving love. I had never thought about that as something that sometimes it's difficult to receive other people's love. And then I started thinking about receiving Krishna's love. Do I really do I really believe that Krishna loves me? And am I really receiving that love? Because until I do, how much can I open my heart back up to Krishna, even with the best of intentions? And in case it was helpful or interesting, I wanted to share it. Mahatma Prabhu has a Japa course about Japa as self-care. And I know it's an online course, and he touched on this a little bit. And it was really powerful about just these sort of self-affirmations about it's a done deal. Krishna already loves you. There is no earning Krishna's love. And for some, that might seem an obvious statement, or it might seem simple, but for others like me, perhaps it kind of strikes you profoundly, or if you have a hard time believing that, just noticing that little disconnect there. And for me, at least in Japa, that's been very healing to kind of open my heart and see where I am with Krishna.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was wonderful, Malati.
Thank you for class, Maharaj.
Okay. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Kṛṣṇa Maharaj, Yavat. Thank you very much for the class. I think it was very wonderful for my Japa. I had this experience with you before, that anytime you guide or meditation, it's really helped to improve it. Yeah, well, thank you very much.
I love getting feedback like this. Thank you. Great. Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Kṛṣṇa, Gurudev. Hare Kṛṣṇa. This is
Hare Kṛṣṇa. Good.
Thank you. Thank you for this experience, this chanting.
What time is it there in Tel Aviv?
In Tel Aviv, 3 p.m. No, it's 4 and a half, something like this.
Okay. Okay. So it's a good time for you. Okay. Anybody else like to say hello?
It's Shabbat now. Yes.
Okay. Oh, yes, that's really good. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Kṛṣṇa Maharaj, it's Don Keeley.
Where are you? You look.
Oh. In my car.
Oh, you're in the car. Okay.
I'm driving. Yeah, I'm driving back from the Hartford Temple. But thank you so much. These classes are incredible. My favorite line was, you said, if you're drowning, you're not bored. So that was a powerful statement. And for mercy while we're chanting.
Okay.
So thank you.
Okay, Haribo. Anybody else? Okay. I kind of got the list, and thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. Without an audience, there can't be a teacher. Thank you.